So what's going on, everyone? I am in a 2018 GMC Denali 2500 HD in what's called mineral metallic. This is a really beautiful truck. Now, there are folks who are going to want me to point out everything that I've already pointed out about these trucks in previous videos. This truck is largely unchanged from 2017 and 2016. There's some significant differences to the engine for the 2017 model, and there are a few minor differences to the 2018 model in terms of the appearance of the truck. Mainly, the grille is slightly changed, as well as some of the color offerings. What I was told is that this specific paint color, which is mineral metallic, is actually pretty hard to get. What I'll tell you about the ride of this truck is it's a really good ride. Now, granted, I had an F350 dually, and then I have an F450 now. The ride of my truck and the previous truck, the 350, it's going to be significantly harsher simply because of the suspension setup. That being said, this truck rides really smooth. I'm very impressed with the comfort level of how not just the seats feel in conjunction with the suspension, but it's a very, very comfortable truck. And I'll make the same point that I made when I was doing the overview on the dually that we looked at about a month and a half ago. The seats in this truck are more comfortable than the seats in my Ford. They have more supportiveness to them. They feel better bolstered. They feel like they have the right amount of cushion in the right spot. And it's a comfortable truck to be in. In terms of driving dynamics, the truck feels like a 3/4 ton truck. It's not going to feel like a half-ton truck. It's not designed to. The 3/4 ton up trucks do not have the GMC magnetic ride system. That's only available on their half-ton model trucks. And it's not going to benefit from that adaptiveness of the suspension really reading the road like you get with the half-ton models. Now, if you put that aside, it's a very well-mannered truck. It feels very nice. It's very comfortable. The truck rides very smooth over rough terrain. I hope that GMC goes the route of putting push-button start in their trucks. They still use a key. I hope that they also go the route of adding a few more features with their camera system. I hope they eventually go the route of E-coating their frames. I mean, I've made that point clear probably more than a dozen times in other videos. The truck is right up there with Ram and Ford in terms of technology now. They give you quite a few luxury features that you expect in a vehicle, but at the same time, they give it to you in a really, really nice package. Now, the engine for 2018 is unchanged. It still has 445 horsepower, 910 pound-feet of torque, and it does not feel sluggish. Now, something interesting to note, that very similar to the 2016 and even the 2017 models that I'd reviewed, the throttle feels almost identical. It is probably best described as the first, half inch of movement really doesn't feel as if you're getting much power out of the engine. But the minute you move past that, it really wants to take off like a rocket. This truck is a very powerful truck, and it performs on par with all the new HD trucks that you're seeing from Ram and Ford as well. These torque and horsepower numbers are really going off the chart now. What's really cool about this is, with this war going on with who has the most horsepower, who has the most torque and all this, it's only better for the consumer, for you guys. The fact that you can go to a dealership and get a pickup truck standard with over 400 horsepower and over 800 pound-feet of torque, and in many cases over 900 pound-feet of torque, is pretty phenomenal. And it just is a testament to how well these trucks are being built now, mainly because to be able to provide that much power and to do it with a truck that's actually warrantied is a big deal. If you have a 7.3 diesel, which is a phenomenal diesel, or you have an older, 6.0 or, an older Cummins engine, you can get that type of power out of them with modifications. To have an engine that reliably puts out this much power, and they can do it in a way that it's covered by a factory warranty, is really, really something to be said. Yeah, this truck definitely has get up and go. It definitely feels like you'll have no problem, whether you're towing or whether you're driving it without a trailer, getting up to speed on an interstate, a highway, or any other type of driving situation, whether you're passing a vehicle. That's always something that people are concerned about when they are purchasing a vehicle like this, if they're going to be towing a trailer or towing a fifth wheel or gooseneck or whatever they're going to be towing. Because whenever you're towing, you may come into a situation where you have to have that power needed to make it up a hill, or to make it up a mountain pass, or to pass other slower moving vehicles. And I really think that's where the power, the torque numbers of these new trucks shine, is in their ability to handle that type of, that type of towing situation with relative ease. And more importantly, to stop a vehicle, to stop a trailer, to stop your entire rig whenever you're coming down a hill or whenever you're trying to make an emergency stop situation. I'd love to give you a really good analysis on interior cabin noise in regards to, what sounds from the outside of the vehicle make it inside of the vehicle. But again, this is another area where both GM and Ford have really done a great job of keeping the interior of the vehicles really quiet. You can still hear the diesel engine, which is nice. The Ram has a slightly louder interior volume. Cummins is a slightly louder engine in that regards, but it's not so much so that I would say it's annoying. Plus, a lot of people actually really like the way the Ram sounds from the inside when they're driving it. So that's actually a perk to a lot of people. What I'm going to be doing here next is the turning radius test that I did on the F350 and the F450 trucks that I owned. I'm going to an area that has the same center divider, and I'm going to do a U-turn and just see how much clearance I have from the curb. I'd like to give you an accurate comparison. Now, keep in mind that the Denali that I'm in is a crew cab short bed 2500 HD. So it is not the 8-foot bed, and it's not the width of a dually. So naturally, there is going to be a little bit of a difference there in terms of turning radius. Generally, the shorter the wheelbase of the vehicle, the tighter the turning radius you're going to get out of it. So once we do this turnaround, don't be surprised if this truck handles it pretty well. What I can almost assure you is that this truck is going to have a much better turning circle than the Ford. Now, I am approaching the exact same turnaround that I took with the Ford trucks. And again, the 350 dually ran the curb. The 450 cleared it by about 5 feet. Let's see how this truck does. So, lock to lock, this particular truck cleared the curb by approximately 2.5 feet. So, what I'll tell you is if we were in the Ford F250, which I will be doing a review on the 2018 model, I don't think that it could do that. I believe the F250 would run the curb by about a foot. So the difference in turning radius on this truck versus the Ford is probably going to be about 3 feet, which can make a big difference because if you don't have to run the curb, that's a big difference in itself. I honestly believe that from an overall perspective, the GMC Denali is probably the best looking pickup truck on the market. There's always going to be features that some people will take over other features. Like, for instance, I like the fact that I have push-button start in my truck. I like that keyless fob, right? It's great technology. I like some of the cool features that you can get on the Ford. But what I'll tell you is a feature that a lot of people may prefer about the GMC truck, especially the Denali, is the comfort, the seats. These seats are ridiculously comfortable. This truck is definitely a truck you could be in for a very long time without getting backaches, without feeling as if you're in a truck. It actually has extremely well-bolstered seats. I know I've pointed this out earlier in the video, but the reason why I want to talk about this again is even though this specific year of truck they haven't introduced the push-button start on, it may still have the Knox-coated frame, things like that, it may be worth sacrificing to some people who want comfort, who want to get into a truck that has outrageously comfortable seats, which this truck does. So for those folks who don't care about some features, if you're really looking for a comfortable truck to be sitting in, this really nails it. The Denali is right up there at the top of all the truck manufacturers in terms of seat comfort and just overall ride comfort when it comes to how you'll probably feel at the end of a very long trip. I wanted to take a moment to thank the folks at AutoNation GMC here in Corpus Christi, Texas, for allowing me to take this vehicle out. They don't send anybody with me. They allow me to do an accurate, honest review without any pressure at all. So I definitely want to give a big shout out to the folks at AutoNation GMC. Guys, if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks, everybody.